Tones.
Here we are.
I think I'm going to get one of those bowls that actually, you know, frequency bowls.
Oh, I
So
love them.
I think that would be kind of cool. Hello, everyone. How are you doing? Welcome to all of you. Thank you for tuning in. And we know you've got other places you can be. And so we appreciate that you be with us.
Yeah.
And I just invoke favor upon everyone right from the get go. Nothing missing, nothing broken be found in your lives. And full restoration, all that has been taken from you, be restored, harvest. You know, a lot of us have harvests that have been stolen. And welcome. Hello, Trina. How are you doing?
Hi, Wayne. I'm wonderful. How are you?
Doing well, thank you. It's a great day here, and just want to say hello to everyone that's joined us, all the moderators. Thank you guys for moderating. So, what's the another good word for moderating and excellence? How about that?
Absolutely.
I'll just say it that way. So thank you and happy birthday to everyone that's having one, anniversaries, those kind of things. I actually have a wedding anniversary coming up here on the 10th. So there we go.
Oh, happy early anniversary to
Well, thank you. And
you.
you
Welcome.
know, it's just like, you know, it goes by so quick. That's all I can say.
Especially when you got peanut butter and jelly.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The yin and the yang, it all ties together. And,
Yeah.
it just shows that favor does work in our lives. If you confess it, it'll come to pass.
Yeah.
It is. It's true. Um,
Absolutely.
I
And
think so.
it took you guys both a hard road to find each other.
Yeah, I think Stevie Ray Vaughan wrote a song like that.
Yeah.
But nevertheless, but I have found it in life, Trina, that the things that I value the most are the ones that I've had to suffer the most and work the hardest for.
Me too.
Yeah.
Yep. Me
Yeah.
too. And I do. I think when you look back, and you look at your life and you can start to see that those determining moments that took you down one path instead of another. It's profound. And I think the only regrets we're going to have in the end of this game are the things that we didn't try out of fear, rather than the things tried and fell down and got bruised up and beat up and scrapes and scars. I think that's going to be valued, the effort, the trying. I think the only thing we're going to condemn ourselves for truly is not trying because of fear.
If fear is a spirit, then when we get on the other side, I mean, that's one thieving, whatever it may be, because you're right. I think people go through life and their lives are hindered by the fears.
Absolutely. I think it's the strongest thing, doubt and fear, and they're hand in hand.
Boy, doubt is the one. Oh, has it bitten more of us in the the rear end, as they would say? It's really true. Um, it's crazy. Uh, Little housekeeping. So tomorrow on the Steiger Perspective, tomorrow night, tune in. I'm going to be doing a show, Trina, that I have made a number of predictions on the Steiger Perspective, and every one of them are coming to pass.
Yeah.
Yikes. Yikes.
Yeah.
It's not that cool. It's not good. I mean, yikes. I mean, for example, I've been talking about the Chinese social credit score,
Yeah.
and it's here.
Yeah.
In fact, our president announced today that they're thinking about using that very system for a problem that we have here. But it just goes to show you things are changing. I think it was Lost in Space who I saw in the chat room who said that she felt that there was a shift. I,
I did too. I
I
felt
think,
it too.
yeah, you
I
know,
did. Yeah, I definitely did. And have you noticed since that the moon and the sun have been like the older ones?
yeah, 2 weeks ago, I'm on the record of saying, folks, the moon was way in the southwest sky. And wow, in 10 days, it went from there to where you're talking about where it normally tracks. So I don't know.
Yeah, and it like it changed color again. It went from that blinding white to the softer, to where it
Yeah.
doesn't burn your skin. It's just it's different frequency. So I noticed this all happening in the last couple of weeks. I noticed a major shift. I've told a couple of people, I think we jumped realities.
Oh, I think that, so we'll put science to this, magic, because science is magic, magic is science. So we've established that black holes do exist, these huge voids that consume light itself. And we know that that has two effects. It has what they call gravitational distortion effects. And the second one is time dilation effects.
Hmm.
So think about this, Trina, that if we're in the vicinity of a black hole, well, the science would say that we would be impacted potentially by both. Now, I don't know what a time distillation effect would be like, but I think we're experiencing it.
You know what, Wayne, I think it goes back to when I was seeing like how we expand from the central force, like the Torah field,
Mm-hmm.
hit that outer wall, and we start to come back in. That's what I keep seeing. We're starting a process of involution. And if we were getting ready to enter into a black hole, that would be the ultimate involution. That means we're getting close to the center. So we're going to be diving through the hole.
Well, I think so. And it's interesting what you just said was, what my spirit guide taught me was this symbol. If anyone ever needs that thing of protection, this is what this is. And it is the all-encompassing. And I finally figured out what the center was about. That's the toroidal field.
Yes, 0 point.
Yeah, I mean,
Yep.
So yeah, and at 3:30, what was that? It was about 3:30 this morning. I woke up to a voice literally saying hello.
Wow.
Yeah. So
Wow. Could you identify it?
Female. Yeah. But it was hello.
Wow.
So, I said hello back. If someone, and it wasn't my wife, of course, my wife said, well, who would be saying hello to you in a female voice at 3:30 in the morning? I said, I don't know.
Yeah, it could be family. It could be
never know. It may have been Sarah. We sent Sarah home last week.
Yes, absolutely.
And that was a phenomenal, those of you and it was on our show last week that, wow, the exact moment, Trina.
I know.
Wow.
Profound.
It is really something. You had a crystal spear. I don't know if that's close by, but that was beautiful that you sent me. There it is, folks. It is gorgeous. I want to tell you what, this is like so cool. Look at that. That is a beauty. And that one is all natural, right, Trina?
All natural. It's real crystal, and it was literally mined out of a mine specifically for me. And
there you go, folks.
They said that the rock that came out of the quarry was this big to make this ball, and they had to tumble it for, I think, 14 days.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a lot of that, when you think about it, with
It's
that
massive.
object.
It's so heavy.
It's beautiful. It is beautiful.
I love it. I love it.
So much energy into that to get that into such a concentric sphere. That's beautiful.
Yeah, it takes such a large piece to make the ball. So because there's holes and stuff and air pockets in the crystals, and this will tumble it to where it gets to its solid state.
Excellent. It's beautiful.
Thank you. It was a gift, and I've had it for, 25, 30 years.
It's beautiful. That's just like
yours is too, Wayne.
Well, but that one though, I mean, there is some real energy that, you can sense it that's gone into forming that.
Yeah, when you sent me that picture, I was like, whoa.
Yeah, but yours, it's the fact that mine is reconstituted. So,
it still holds super, because it's for you. I don't know why that was for you. And literally I said that and my ear is going, okay.
And when we get down the road, I showed you the black mirror. It is this which came from Mexico as well. I mean, this thing is like so cool. So we're going to do some experimenting with this. This is obsidian. So
That's powerful, Wayne.
do you have any experience with, scouring?
No, I don't. But dowsing and it seems like if I look into kind of any reflective surface,
Mm-hmm.
it's a way for me to go into my higher mind. It's kind of like,
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
There was a song back in the 60s called The Expressway to My Heart. Baby, that's an expressway right on in.
It is.
It is.
There's something about the image. There's something about reflective surfaces that bring you into the in-between place.
Well, I contend this, and this is just my contention, that scouring has been around for thousands of years. It's one that, yes, it does conjure the spirit realm, but it also gets you into moi.
Yes.
Would you agree?
Absolutely. Anytime that you're what they call divining, that's why they call it divination, is because to divine requires a frequency, and you have to get into that resonance of frequency because our vibration is lower than the spiritual realm. So we have to lift our vibration up just enough so where they can drop theirs down and we meet in this middle place.
I agree. And here's something, what folks, Trina and I don't talk before we get on. We just later get on right before we get on. So this I know is a process that I can begin from the outside in. I can begin to get into the reverse of what we call the white mirror. This gets into the soul, the spirit, etc.
Well, every time I see darkness now, the first word that comes to my mind is mother matter.
Yes. Now, I have discovered something a couple of years ago that we're already doing this, but here's something I want to bring to the audience. So this is another black mirror, but the thing about this one, it emits from the inside out. That's very powerful because here you go. Tell me the difference.
It is the in with versus the out. There's a big difference there. And
yes,
that's
there is.
We need to start learning the in part because we've been only taught the out part. Now we got to learn the in part.
And I contend we have no idea what has actually been coming from what we call the inside out. I'm telling you, we talked about Archons last week, right before we left, and I've been giving more and more thought to it.
Me too, Wayne, and that's what I'm seeing. It seems like most of it is coming from the outside.
Yeah.
And that's where we've become what we are. It's because we've lost that connection to the internal creator. Instead of creating, we're manifesting based on our information coming from the outside instead of manifesting from information coming from the inside.
Yes. I want to point out something, Trina. This is going to really step you back. So the difference between the two devices, one is made of earth. This other one is, guess what? It's powered by electricity.
I was going to say quantum, so I was close.
Yes, yes. So is there a correlation now between the Archons who are arcing a con? You get that? They're arcing a con.
Yeah. And you know what else I saw, Wayne? These are the Elohim.
Yes.
And El, the god of El.
El.
City, El.
And here we go. Speaking of El, because that is EL, although you will see it in certain variations of just simply E, or you can actually see it with an L with a apostrophe, I think, on each side closing it in. Which brings us into this whole thing that I contend the English alphabet is nothing more than an alphabet of sigils that have become a spoken language. And we've had a lot of people, Trina, I know I told you before so a lot of people have been asking for clarification on the letter J.
Yep.
And Trina, I just thought we'd go through this, answer a lot of people's other questions because it gets confusing. And okay, good, because this is going to be something. So we're going to batter up the letter J here, and we're going to hit this and bust this myth out as to why. I'll just say this as gently as I can. What we perceive as the modern day savior, which has been known throughout the world in the last 380 years as Jesus, is a made up figure taken from something that never existed before. And I got proof. So the letter J, was it a vowel or a consonant? Well, it was an I, but not always. It was also an E, sometimes a Y.
Yep.
A history worth looking into. So what I did, this is, you can go back, this is actually a whole video. I get into the history of the letter J. The letter J is rather different. It did not exist in Latin. All right, this is important. So if the letter J, how could there have ever been a Jesus? But we'll get into that. Of course, a great deal of the medieval literature tradition is in Latin. Even the ancient magic is written in Latin. And when I see the word Jesus in there, I know it's been contaminated.
Yep.
And I will not pursue that. And I've got a lot of books that I've just simply trashed, because if you're going to write a book and you're telling me you're using medieval magic, then I shouldn't see this word Jesus anywhere.
Mm-hmm. You know,
All
the
right.
only way I can see that we could use the word Jesus and bring it into a frequency that could be in alignment is because if you look at when J was brought in, J was always pronounced as the H when it was brought into the alphabets. So it's basically he is us.
Okay.
So if you're talking Jesus, the real meaning of the Jesus should be he is us, which means it's within you.
I like that interpretation
That's
as
how
opposed
he always
to.
told me. He said Jesus is a concept. It's a way of being. It's a way of frequency. It's a way of being. And he says, so the Jesus, because he told me I came here to be like Jesus because I would understand this character. You know, I would understand this iconic thing. I would know what this Jesus thing was. And he's like, you came here to be like Jesus. And he remembered, he'd always say, remember, this means he is us. And he'd always show me a large group of us.
I hope that
like Jesus.
That I wish people would get onto, as opposed to thinking that this is the whole purpose of this video, folks. And you can go back and take a look at it. I go through it's very detailed and showing you, just frankly, folks, I don't know who Jesus is, but the fact is that I like your interpretation of this, but as far as an actual person that actually lived with that name, it's impossible.
Yep.
And
Impossible.
People, it's just literally impossible.
It's impossible. Yes.
I have this PowerPoint. If anyone should want it, I'll upload it. You know, this was done in cooperation with a linguist, and her and I worked on this thing. And as you can see, by the time you get to the end of this, you realize that we've been hoodwinked.
Yep.
And what's so interesting that I found, Trina, was that the original King James, the 1611 edition, actually never had the name Jesus in it.
I have the book, and you're absolutely right. It says Aisuus.
Yes, and Aisuus is Zeus.
Yes, it sure is.
I don't know how to tell you folks, but if you're invoking Jesus' name, you're actually invoking Zeus.
Yes. Yes.
Oh, don't yell at me. Don't hate us. It's just the way it is. And we get into exactly what's happened here, how the mistake has been brought in, that people actually think that this has anything to do with Yeshua, which it doesn't. But again, if you want this, I'll be more than happy to. I won't, Trina, because
when you look at this, it's the same thing again and again and again. They've reversed it. So the message of Jesus was he is us. We are the second coming. It's inside of us. We will be Jesus. We are Jesus. He is us. And we are our own salvation. So what do? They took the Jesus concept, they put it up on a stick, they promoted death and sacrifice, and you need a savior and all this crap. It's backwards. And it's like the message of Jesus was he is us. We are the Jesus.
We are.
He's us.
When you said Jesus on the stick, I was thinking of the one comedian with the jalapeno on the stick. I'm sorry.
Jeff Dunham, jalapeno.
Jeff Dunham, thank you. I've seen him many times in Vegas, but that is the, when you said that, I heard him literally said, "Senor," so
awesome.
Oh, mercy. Yeah. Anyway, folks, here's the thing. Let me just put it this, and we'll move on. But the question has to be asked. So, who did Paul really write in the name of? I mean, no one knows. No one has the original. It's a guess. And again, to close this out, it shows you that not only is it the Greek god Zeus, but also we're worshiping the female goddess of healing.
Yes.
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 Yes. And there's, like you said, in Spanish, it's Jesus. And there it is right there.
And that's why in the Spanish, there's the Black Madonnas. And that's why we have the Virgin Mother.
Thank you.
Because you're also representing the worship of the feminine goddess, and you just don't even know it.
Yes, that's so true. So I'm out of there. So, listen, knowledge will set you free, folks.
It will, but guys, sometimes it causes a little bit of pain too. So be ready for that.
I've eaten some burritos that, I should have used better knowledge because so anyway.
Ouch.
Oh, mercy. It's real here, folks. I'm talking to you.
Absolutely.
It is real. It's just real.
Keep it real.
And when people first see this, Trina, they're always shocked. They can't believe it.
It hurts. It hurts. It hurts. It rips your freaking heart out of your body. It hurts. I cried big tears over this information, y'all. Big tears. And that, like I said, that's when I dropped to my knees. And I was like, oh my God, I'm worshiping false idols because I'm going out. I'm not going in. I realized everything was backwards, and I had a full blown come apart.
When it hit me, and I know the date, when that revelation came to me, it was back in 2012. And my wife will tell you, I literally was in a fetal position. I couldn't believe it. And I remember asking a friend of mine at the time who was in the ministry doing a lot of evangelistic work in India. And I called him up and I said, I've been looking at this, and this revelation has come out. I've been checking it out. There's no way that there's this person that I've been worshiping for nearly 50 years exists.
And then you try to disprove it. You try to say, this can't be right. This can't be right. And you dig deeper. And then there's just more confirmation. You're like, oh no.
Well, this is what got me. This is a guy that was a minister. Now, I was an ordained minister myself at the time. And he said, yeah, he says, it's true. I said, well, wait a minute. I said, so you're going to India where they have all of these different gods that we were told were demons. Yep. And I said, that the name is a fraud. He said, it's really about getting people into the religion.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah. And it's so funny too, how many demons in the old days used to be easily cast out by the name of Jesus. The only reason it worked was because they believed that they had the power of Jesus inside of them.
I understand.
When people started adopting the Jesus is outside of you concept, and they're trying to cast demons out in Jesus's name, it won't work.
No. And I actually, the Lesser Key of Solomon, was a real revelation, because when you get into the, I guess what would be called the original Hebraic faith, that converted, that eventually came into Judaism. But the fact is, what I found so odd were that the angels, the archangels, the Archons, are working hand in hand with the chief demons, the princes, the kings. This is what they call them.
Yep.
That's a confused situation there. So
it's not for me, because you know how I see it.
Okay, let's hear.
It's their shadow.
Interesting.
I see the polarity. It's their shadow. So you've got the good angel, the bad angel. You've got Jesus, and you've got Lucifer, Satan, which Lucifer is not Satan, but people, everything's confused. But it's the whole good and bad, black and white, dark and light. So whenever you have a good entity, it's going to have its opposite in the shadow aspect of it. So this is where you're going to see they work closely with the demons. They're working with their shadow self.
This all leads into, Trina, this whole thing, what, I've dedicated this channel to, of understanding the spirit realm, because as I told you, and I've told everyone, there's just certain things I won't get involved with. That was one of them, because if that is what the spirit realm is made of, I want no part of that. And what I was shown is that there are many different kingdoms in the spirit realm.
Yes, I've seen that too.
And
this book that I've been reading, Wayne, it talks about the 16 different dimensions of heaven.
Really?
Yeah.
Expound a little bit on that.
I'd have to read it because I haven't read it in a while, and I'm going through this book, and it's you would love this book. I've been reading it, and it is in total resonance with the Spiritist book you've been reading.
Yes, yes.
And this book, this lady, I saw her one video on YouTube, and when I heard her giving her information, the channeling that she was receiving, I'm like, that's the Lord. I just knew. And then the information that's coming out of her mouth, I'm like, that's how I was taught. This is like the book of my whole life right here.
Excellent. That's the
how they taught me the differences in religions, the commonality between the two, the going out within, going in, the duality, the energy systems in the body, the chakras. It's like it's all in this information. I was like, bingo, this is beautiful.
You did, when you just said the word chakra. Well, what I immediately saw, and I'm connecting, shock, raw. You're shocked. All electric.
Archon.
Yeah. I mean, it's and I think that, as I have each one of the stones that represent the chakra, and there's some of them that are actually crystals. And I just want to say, Karen, Queen of Quartz. So, little side note, has nothing to do with this, but maybe it does. One of the things we're learning in space now is that space is a very dirty place, lots of dust. And here's the interesting thing. They have found that the majority of this dust that we have never been able to see is olivine. And olivine is a crystal which is highly magnetic and a conductor of electricity.
Wow. That's how they made matter. That's how they created matter.
Think about this. It's a crystalline network.
I literally heard that's how they created matter.
I can see that. Excellent.
I'm hearing it. This is how they created the web.
Yeah. Yes. Someone's saying, teach us on opening the chakras. Trina, do you know how to open up the chakras for people? Tell them.
All you do is you get into your natural rhythm, and your natural rhythm, once you can come into, there's certain words that can help you activate this. One is homeostasis.
That's a good one.
Homeostasis, returning home. Okay. Homeostasis is a medical technological term, which is when the body is in its perfect rhythm. Okay. So when you get into your perfect rhythm, you become still. And then the true symphony of your being starts to awaken, and it's a tone, it's a sound. and you're literally just resonating in your own frequency.
Yeah.
And with those frequencies, once you get into those frequencies, that's when you enter the 0 point, and you can rise or drop or clean or heal or receive or send. You can do anything you want in homeostasis. So the first part of it is be still and know that I am.
Now, that's the first thing I do. I've learned, actually, I learned this from Franz, Introduction to Hermetics. One of the few things I did happen to think that did agree with me, but I've learned to start breathing from the solar plexus.
Yes.
And
All
for
the way
me,
down to the belly.
yes, yes.
All the
Yeah.
way. Yeah.
The idea is to be able to do this, folks, where you're not expanding with a great compression or extraction on the chest. It's the idea to come up from within. Yes. Yeah. And that's how I start doing it. And then what I begin to see is how is the energy flow.
You know what I just found out, Wayne?
What's
The
that?
breath produces DMT.
It's interesting.
So when we're doing these breathing, we're producing the DMT, which is the activation of the pineal gland, because DMT is what opens it up.
I see that. I can see that.
And I
Yeah.
didn't know that. I didn't know the fastest way to produce DMT in the body is breath. And that's why they always tell women in labor, breathe,
Yeah. Yeah.
breathe, because it helps them produce the DMT necessary to give birth.
And that breathing, by the way, if I'm right, is really from the solar plexus, is it not?
Yes. And
I've never had one, but you know.
Well, kidney stones, you've been there.
Oh yeah.
Man, close.
Yeah.
Right there, Wayne, right there.
Woo, woo.
Right there. Yeah, you're close. Mm-hmm.
But now I saw, back in the early 70s, there were many people who were into hallucinating by breathing.
Yeah, I've actually
Now
seen
I see what you're saying.
birth.
Yeah.
I've seen people give birth under hypnosis.
Okay.
They experienced no pain, and they had perfectly natural births through hypnotherapy. There was nothing needed other than the hypnosis, and they'd have a target right in front of them on the bed, so they could just focus on that target and stay within the zone.
Oh yeah.
Amazing. The power that we have in these states of mind are profound. We bust all the laws of physics apart.
You said something that I think that we, all of us as a group, need to respond to as well, is that someone wants to know, what's your book called, Trina?
It's called The Angelic Origins of the Soul by Tricia McCannon, and it's on Amazon. And she writes more books. I got all three of them. I haven't even had a chance to break into them, because the first one I picked up was the Angelic Origins of Soul, and it is resonating with me so much. That's why I'm reading it to you all, because it's so in alignment with what you're doing.
Yeah.
And it's just like, there's those little subtle differences, but the message is exactly the same.
And that's what gets me. And I think all of us can agree on this. We've all found this, that with this book, the Spiritist book that we're reading, with what you're bringing in, the thing about it is it's so peaceful. I mean,
it all goes together.
Yeah. No pressure, no typing where I'm having to connect the dots. Like, well, wait a minute. How did that happen? It just,
comes together.
I think like yesterday when I talked about heaven and hell, and our show was titled, natural versus supernatural.
Yes.
I think that we live, or should be living, in a reality where supernatural is the nomenclature we use normally.
It's so funny. We're living in an artificial reality because of our belief systems and our programs. And the true rule is natural rule. And supernatural is just reconnecting to natural.
Yeah. And what does super mean? Well, to me, it means enhanced, lifted up, I think today we suddenly think of super as either being oversized, big drink, or some superhero on the screen. And it's not. I think about it sometimes as I've been trying to reconcile, how do I approach these beings? I do not want to invoke the names that have been given to them in another religion. I just don't think that that is something. I would be hypocritical in my approach saying, well, I want to invoke those angels, but I don't want to really believe in that God.
Mm-hmm.
So,
where I've come to with all that, and it took me a while to get to this place. But remember when I told you that through the process of understanding that I'm part of everything.
mm-hmm.
When I fully kind of process that in my body, that I am part of everything in this construct, I'm connected because I have the universe in myself.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
if I have everything inside of me, that means that everything that I see is me.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, I can follow that.
So I can have control, or I can become anything I can imagine, because thought is the vehicle that transports you to that vibration.
I'm going to be doing a whole show on the realm of thought.
So
And I think that that's really what the spirit realm is. I think it is a realm of thought.
Absolutely, it is thought.
Yeah.
Yes.
And when I start getting into, that zone, what people call, I can lower my heart rate. I can lower the activity of the body. And it's one of these questions now. I feel like I'm a student back in the classroom, and I'm trying to sit there and say, all right, I know this, but in the light of what I'm seeing now, where do I find that common ground of reconciling the old beliefs with a new understanding? That it can be a challenge.
It's super hard. And I just always hear, just remember, bring back your members. Remember.
So, Trina, I am doing the dishes. In fact, I like doing the dishes. It's a great time of meditation. And actually, they have found that housework, by the way, is something that actually is beneficial to you. But anyway, I digress. So, I have not been a person of reincarnation. It was against the belief systems I had. And, anyway, so I'm doing the dishes, and I am back for a split second. I am in a Victorian house. It had to be in the 1800s. And I was sitting there reading the paper, looking out. And the next thing I know, I'm back doing and that was just a weird experience, Trina.
I've had that before. Yeah, I've had that before.
Well, let's talk about it, because to me it was
one of them was really weird, because I saw the Constitution get signed.
Now that is
and that was a bloodbath, Wayne.
Oh, I bet it was.
It was a bloodbath.
Were you female or male?
There were supernatural people present in that place.
In Philadelphia? Are you saying in the signing of the Constitution? Okay, expound on that. I mean, listen, we're all merged.
This was a battle between the demonic, the shadow, and the reptilian part of our nature, and the angelic part of our nature. And the angelics won that battle. That was one of the first ones they'd won in a while, but they won that one. Do you know that our Constitution has 4,440 words?
Okay.
444.
I've seen that. And then 4 represents in, I'm trying to think, what does 4 represent?
4 corners, north, south, east, and west, earth, air, fire, and water.
Someone will tell us what 4. What does 4 mean in numerology?
It's the number of the messengers of angels. That's the angelic messenger number, is 444.
Okay. All right.
And that was the number of the Constitution. The angels won that battle. And they said, it was just like Lincoln, he says, I gave you a republic. Whether or not you can keep it is yet to be seen.
Well, we didn't keep it. That republic was lost.
That's what I mean. We lost again after they fought so hard to give us what we wanted. We gave it away again.
1913, folks, Jekyll Island.
Absolutely.
It's
That's
when
exactly it.
yeah, we lost the republic. Yeah, David, that is the yin and yang guitar. It is. So, while my guitar gently weeps, but yes, it is, and it's true. We fail to understand that countries have spiritual kings, princes, lords over them.
Yes.
A lot of people don't know that.
Country, every nation, every county, all of them.
Yeah. You see, future life. People, Trina, don't see future life in the complexity of this realm. I was there. I mean, I was for decades, You were asked me about after death. It's like, well, I don't care. I'm going to heaven.
Right. Right.
It's like going into an advanced calculus class and saying, oh, I don't need to study because, it's not really going to matter anyway.
I think this is how they've gotten so many souls trapped within a construct, because they truly don't understand that this is not all that they are. This is a part of who they are, but this is not the fullness of what they are. And if they're stuck in this is you mindset, and that this you needs a savior, you're in big trouble when you hit the other realms, because you've literally signed a contract for bondage and servitude, because you gave all your power away voluntarily.
Wow. As we're talking, I'm literally seeing all of you who've ever played Risk, the board game Risk. And as you were talking, you were talking about collecting of souls. And we all can say that something's been building up. I mean, we sense it as a species. I wonder, Trina, if these kingdoms that have been set up here, if they're, what I'm talking about is potentially, it looks like there's a coming together here of a clash.
I see that too.
Yeah. And you said the gathering of souls, and what I saw were pieces on the board representing souls going to different kingdoms where they're getting set.
Yes, that's exactly right, Wayne. That's exactly what I see.
Thank you. I mean, as you were talking, that's exactly what was being unfolded. And because, listen, I read today, the Barna Group, that the largest exodus is taking place in Christianity. We're seeing this huge exodus. Islam is picking up some, and there are others, but for the vast majority now are just out there in limbo.
Yeah, because their faith has been shattered.
Yeah.
They've come into these truths, and it's opened up all those questions. And instead of dropping to their knees and saying, okay, I've been shown this for a reason. What is the deeper meaning? And where is my truth inside of my own truth? Where is my truth? Show me what I need to see. Because if I've been expected to let go of this belief system, you better show me where I'm supposed to go.
Yeah, and that's it's a vacuum. They're lost.
Yeah, they're lost. And they
are.
can find their way if they get determined to stop going outside. This is the window. This is the key to your house of treasures. If you can walk in instead of looking out, you will become a master.
Let me ask the question, and that I'm sure that has been stated. I know it has in the chat room. I've seen it before. So if you go outside, and we've been taught that don't go into the spirit realm, don't go in there, don't venture. I happen to disagree with that, but I think everyone's entitled to their own point of view. But my point is that it exists. We are sojourners here. There's one person I know, and we have a great pen pal relationship. It's almost as though the sojourning of tribe members. It's like I know you. Yeah. But here's my point, Trina. How can you exist into something that you're going to if you're being told to fear it?
That's the trap, because it sets your vibration into the hook. And they
By the
got
fear frequency.
that's it. They got you. They got you from the fear frequency, and that's why it's called the hook. And that's why Jesus told me, this being the Lord, my spirit guide, my invisible best friend, he told me, you have to tell them of the Jesus trap. And he would show me the hook of the letter J.
Isn't J a hook?
He would show me that over and over, Wayne, and I didn't understand it for years.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah, now I see it. And he shows me, you got to tell them about the Jesus trap and that it's a hook.
Yeah.
And the hook is fear of death, thinking you need a savior, thinking you're a bad person, condemning yourself, not forgiving yourself for all the horrors that this world will bring you to test you. You signed up for that. So if you learned your lesson and you're not out doing that same thing over again, you've learned your lesson. And that was what you signed up for, probably 90% of the time. So with that, we need to overcome our problems and our weaknesses, because we need to stand in courage and integrity and self-responsibility, so there's no hook that can attach our flesh.
I used to coach softball, and I would tell the young women out there that if you see yourself as the best out there swinging, I said, you're going, no matter how many times you miss, keep that image that you're up there and you're going to knock it out. I had more young women who had such a low self-esteem, self-image of themselves, but by the end of the season, we won our little
championship
district.
Yeah.
Yep. And you know, I people who I have found to be positive, who have a great self-image of themselves, who are balanced, humble, they found that place. I have found them to be the most encouraging people.
Yeah. They live in a state of grace.
And you know, they're not into self-condemnation. What they do is, I have this little thing right here all the time, and it's saying, practice self-forgiveness.
Yeah, and above that is practice self-love. Truly learn to love what you are. Because if you think of all the love and the worship and the adoration that we've given to the gods and the worship, think about if you turn that energy back into yourself.
Oh, yes, 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 yes. That's all. Absolutely.
All of it. Bring it back to yourself and say, I now give it to source of all that is, which is not fake. It's real. It's eternal. And I give it to you. And that's in me. And through that, we give it to the world.
I love this, because that's the answer. It's a change of attitude. It's a change of frequencies, as our good friend Brian always says, you know, be the frequency you want to be. And it's so true.
Love one another as you love yourself. You can't love anybody else until you know how to fall in love with you.
That has been the thing. Love thyself.
That's not ego.
No.
That's not bragging. It's none of that. It's literally learning compassion for yourself. And through that compassion, you find forgiveness. And through that forgiveness, you come into adoration. And from that adoration, you fall in love.
Yes. Yes.
You have to build yourself up, because you've been so trained to beat yourself down.
And you know what that also does? It makes the spirit realm attracted to you.
Oh, they rejoice.
Yeah, I mean, they're going.
And they can get to you easier because you're vibrating right.
Yeah, it's like, hey, they got it figured out, man. Look at the look, the shine. They got
they finally picked up the phone.
They got the shine, man. They got it. And maybe that's who, whoever was the spirit that spoke to me, probably is my spirit guide. But when I learned, and I'm practicing this more and more, actually beginning to plan my future life.
Yes.
I'm fulfilling.
Wayne, I've been seeing that too. And you know what I think we need to do?
What's that?
we need to create a planet that we can all go
Oh,
to after we die, that we can learn and work and educate and heal and recover from this trauma and find out how we can best serve the universe from that point forward. But we need to go to our own healing center, our own healing planet. And I swear, I think it's called harmony.
well, that's a word that, when I did 60 Seconds for Humanity, harmony was the word. I mean, because harmony it's one that can't be corrupted. It's like
It
favor.
brings homeostasis. It
That's
takes
what I was just thinking too. Kind of
yeah.
bringing it all in there. But now, the spirits, as we'll get back into our book tomorrow, it's in essence what they're saying. They said if humanity could ever get together, we
Yeah.
literally could create this
Anything.
planet. Yeah.
Anything.
Wow. You think about that,
Anything. Anything. They're showing me anything. You can create anything. Anything.
I can see why the creator would grieve about us, and I know eventually our species will reach there, but we could be so far further ahead if we just figured this out, that it's not about country, it's not about religion, it's not about wealth, it's not about status, but if we could come together and really begin to create this collectively, oh, Trina,
Yeah.
we
And it's
would
about
probably
our heart.
transfer. Go ahead, hon.
I said, it's just about our hearts.
Mm.
And Wayne, like I said, you were gifted the rainbow. The rainbow.
Yeah,
You,
yeah.
you're one of the bridge. And I heard that many of us would be building this bridge, and the bridge is connecting to the spiritual realms.
Well, I know that there's a lot in here. Al, David, there's just quite a few that are on the same wavelength.
Yes. And
Yeah.
I'm telling you, we're building a bridge, and others have built this bridge before, but in the past, it seems like only a very few masters could get to these levels, like Buddha, Jesus, these iconic beings. They were able to do the bridge, right? They had it. We are going to do the bridge, and there's going to be so many of us, and so many of us are doing the bridge in different ways. This bridge is going to hit like they've never seen before, and I'm telling you what, they're scared.
I just saw something in my mind's eye. It's going to happen. I believe we will be successful doing this. I think it's going to be a small number.
I do too.
We're not going to be here if we achieve this.
Yeah, we will turn into light bodies.
We'll absolutely be one of those that, not sure what happened to them.
Yeah. Well, you know what I saw? We'd be able to phase in and out, come and go as we please.
What I actually saw was a darkened space with a door that was invisible, but you could see it, and seeing it open. Yeah. Literally, that's what I saw.
Yeah, it's our gate. All you have to do is walk through the door. We're here. Walk through the door. Yeah, party tricks, the ultimate party trick. Where'd she go?
Wow. If you take this.
Wayne, there's a book called The Celestian Prophecy.
Yes, I have that book.
Okay, remember at the end when the little girl and the boy were exchanging the energy? And remember, nobody could see them. Remember?
Well, it would also bring into point of many of the other stories that we have heard in the past of, individuals being here and then being somewhere else.
Absolutely. Enoch, for one.
Well, Enoch, and, there's been others that I have read of incidences in other different places of the world. I mean, but it's the place that I think it's in Peru, the carving on the side of the mountain that they say if you kneel and you learn the proper frequency, that the portal opens. And the last one I heard was just about a year ago. Yep. The guy that found the tone, and he was in a place that, so that tells me it can be done. It
The
is being
gates
done.
are already here. The portals are
Yes.
here. They're here. They're already here. We just have to learn how to step through them. Yeah.
We have a lot of work to do.
Yes, we do. Yeah.
I mean, that's what I heard. It's like, yeah, but you're not there yet, cowboy.
We're not. We're learning. Yeah, we're
It's like,
learning.
well, wait a minute. I want it now, and I want it now.
I know, me too. Me too. And then I know better though, because I know the will of us as one thought, as one collective consciousness, cooperative agreement, which is what I consider to be the divine will of creation, which in essence is coming through all of us. So with that, in cooperation, we always have to understand we set forth the intention and let us, the divine will, all of us as one, the strongest charge, the strongest resonance, the strongest frequency, that's what will manifest. And that will be better than all of our dreams.
You know what I just heard? I literally heard this in my head. Steiger, you can't play basketball in a hockey field. And that's kind of what would happen to us if we didn't figure this thing and learn step by step. We'd be in the middle of something going, what is going on?
Exactly. Yes. Yeah. We're learning, but we're learning in steps, and we are going to learn this. And I have seen potentials that literally people would just drop to their knees and cry from the beauty of it if we can work this out.
I think we are. You know, I tune in and I watch when you're over on Brian's channel, Milky Way Messenger now, I think it is. And there's other channels out there as well. I see David's working on content on his. And I think that if we continue to encourage all these everyone person here should have their own discussion.
Yes.
You know,
we're all different pieces of this magnificent mosaic that's coming together.
Yeah.
It's going to bring new light, new frequency, new awareness. And literally, we are the rainbow bridge. We will be the connection point that takes one era or eon into the next. We are moving from the I believe, the indoctrination station, from belief, I believe, going outside of ourselves. We are transferring the collective consciousness into the knowing, the I know.
Yeah.
And this was our task.
I see this as that progress. I mean, it really is. And you know what makes a masterpiece so remarkable is the fact that in that painting, there are contrasting colors, images, and shapes.
Yes.
Folks.
Diversity.
Yes.
Beauty. Yes. The diversity is the beauty. Without the diversity, there is no beauty. We
shine in our differences.
Yes, and all of us are different hues of color.
We are.
That's why we're hue of man. We're expressing different colors, and those different colors is the fullness of mankind.
I mean, blue is my favorite color, but within purple, and there are a myriad of colors that combine to make the color.
Yes.
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 I'm just one of those indigo souls, folks. That's all. I'm blue, man.
Yeah. I can change colors. I'm primarily indigo, but yeah, I turn yellow and orange and all kinds of colors, but primarily indigo.
Yeah. And I'm not like the Blue Man Group in Vegas.
Exactly. I'm like the Blue Man Group.
It's like, man, they're messy.
And that spirit picture I have, it's a blue.
Yeah.
Blue being.
Yeah. I mean, listen, if there's one thing that the folks in India should teach, that we should remember, and it's replete, are the blue races. They're here still. I don't know where they went, but the blue beings are still here in the earth. That's exactly, that's what I have heard.
Me too.
And if we start seeing them again, change is definitely on the doorstep.
Yes.
It's like, ding dong. Yes. We're the blue race. Oh,
I'd be like, oh, I've got so many questions. Do you
yeah.
have questions? I'll tell you everything I know. You tell me everything you know. Let's talk.
Do you drink tea? Come
Yeah,
on
yeah,
in.
yeah.
We'll
What
have a spot to tea.
coffee, tea, restructured water? What can I give you?
Yeah, exactly. Let me know. And by the way, I have found that when you are in the state of consciousness as a state of service to one another,
Mhm.
wow, it's amazing what that does in elevating you on
Yeah,
a
and I've always God would always tell me, I says, how do you get everything to work and how do you make everything, fix everything? And he just laugh and always the same word, cooperation.
yeah.
That's it.
Well, there's a concept.
That's exactly right. It's so
Yeah.
in your face and it's so simple and it's so profound and it's so true. You must learn to cooperate.
I can't think of a better way to end the show. And boy, that hour has come and
Holy moly,
yeah.
so fast.
It's here. Well, thank you, folks. We're just getting compliments. People are thanking you, and
Love
hey,
you guys.
you know,
You're my family. I love you. Wayne, you too. This is the most magical thing that's happened in my whole life is because I've been waiting for you guys for so long. So
they
grateful.
gave us the wrong map.
I know, right?
It's like I was driving the bus, and damn it, they said take a left.
Yeah, trying to find the right road. And I think we found the right roads and we had to travel down some bumpy ones to get here.
Oh, Miss Trina, thank you. All
Thank
right,
you.
all right, folks. All right, thank you, Miss Trina. We'll see everyone later. All right, bye, bye, folks.